Hey there, Knicks fans. How you doing? It is your boy Jonathan Macri, and I am here with you for something that I never do. But tonight's not a normal night. It's the NBA Cup Final. Yeah, how you doing? So that is why I figured I'd hop on here. We are about an hour before tip-off. I would assume the actual tip-off of this shindig will be. I mean, that's something that shout out to Fanatic Sportsbook. They should take bets on is when is this game actually going to tip off? If I had to place a wager, I would probably bet on 8:47, 8:50. Maybe I'm a little early. I don't know. In any case, I hope everybody's doing good. I hope everybody's excited for this. And that's kind of how I wanted to start this thing off because so we got Knicks Spurs here. NBA Cup, third year of the NBA Cup. Congratulations if you can remember all two of the NBA Cup champions thus far. I know because I kind of do this for a living now, but Lakers and Bucks. And I saw a lot of conversation today, seemingly. Maybe not conversation. It wasn't that I saw a conversation. It was more that I saw responses to conversation or responses to things that people have been saying, because I guess I'm not following the right people on social media who are actually saying the things. I'm only following the people who are responding to the things that are being said. In any case, so what does it seem like is being said, or what, as my impression was? Basically that this thing is silly. And the NBA Cup, not that it in and of itself is silly, but that anyone looking to make a bigger deal out of it than should be made, or anyone who is placing any sort of larger value on the outcome of tonight, and God forbid anyone who thinks it would be appropriate to celebrate the raising of a small trophy. I don't think it's quite as big as the Larry O'Brien trophy, but it seems like it's a decent size from what I saw. Karl Anthony Towns dapped it up on his way into the festivities tonight. And God forbid anybody who would suggest raising a banner, in the arena of the winning team. So I was seeing a lot of responses to this, and I was like, well, I have to get on here and say something about this because one, that's what I do, and two, I actually want to. And I'm actually going to go back and I'm going to tell a quick little story because for the last couple of years, this thing has been around. And the former head coach of the New York Knicks, Tom Thibodeau, would be asked about it periodically, would be asked about the NBA Cup. Does it mean more? How do you guys prepare for it differently, if at all? Yada, yada, yada. And with the caveat that he is probably the wrong person to ask about that, because if there is a game being played that counts in the standings, in Tom Thibodeau's mind, it was the most important game in the history of games. But even with that caveat, Tibbs' response, I distinctly remember, and he said it on more than one occasion, was, well, it's nice for the fans. I remember hearing that every time, like, you know what, Tibbs? You're right. And I responded that way for two reasons. One, because I agreed with everything Tom Thibodeau said. Tom Thibodeau said the sky was green. Well, I guess I thought the sky was green. And number two, that was generally how I felt. Because but here's the thing. I was like, yeah, it's for the fans, but not this fan. And beneath the outer layer, I was like, I'm too good for this shit. It is a fan contrived event. And the reason why I justified to myself that it was not a fan contrived event, it was a money gobbling event that was thought of by Adam Silver. But the reason why I thought of it in that light was because of my own responses to the two teams that had won it. When the Lakers won it and then when the Bucks won it, both times I was like, okay, I don't care. I don't think anything more of the Lakers. I don't think anything more of LeBron James. I didn't think anything more of Anthony Davis at the time. I didn't think anything more of Giannis Antetokounmpo. Didn't think any more of any of the Bucks teammates. I'm looking; they're replaying right now on Prime the footage of LeBron James holding up the trophy. Here's Giannis taking a drink out of the trophy from last year. Here's a bunch of lovely clad women wearing red hats, bringing the trophy out onto the court. In any case, so I thought back to how I responded to those previous wins by the Lakers and the Bucks, and I was like, I don't care. I'm not gonna like if I'm thinking of the first 50 lines of LeBron's legacy, or I'm thinking of the first 25 lines of Giannis's legacy. Among those lines will not be NBA Cup champion. I don't even know if there's an MVP for this thing, but if there was an MVP, I'm sure those guys won it. I wouldn't think of that either. And then, so I had this in my mind. I'm like, see, I'm too good for this shit. I'm not the type of fan. Like, yeah, it's for the fans. Again, not this fan. So I'm sitting there and I'm watching the game on Saturday night, and it's my anniversary. And as I've said already, I'm in a nice little inn. You know, we have a little fireplace, cozy, snow's on the ground, the whole thing. 11 years. Shout out to my wife, Dolores Kuzmano Macri. And I am enthralled by this freaking game. And we've gone on vacation before where there's a Knicks game on and I'm able to like kind of tune it out and focus on my family. And I was like enthralled. I was so freaking locked in as my daughter was climbing over the couch now. Wait a minute, babe. And I'm locked in. And then fast forward to today, and I like could barely function. From the moment I got up and I kept myself busy with all tasks throughout the day. And as we got closer and closer and closer to game time, I'm like, it feels like this is how I feel ahead of a playoff game, and especially ahead of game one of a playoff series. And I realized that I had turned into that theoretical fan that Tom Thibodeau was talking about when he said, kind of derisively, derisively. I don't think I'm pronouncing that word correctly. You know what word I'm trying to say. That it's good for the fans. It's fun for the fans. Suddenly, I was the fans. The fans was me, and I was indeed bought into this thing, hook, line, and sinker. I was all in on this thing mattering. I am all in on this thing mattering. I think it is a big deal that the Knicks have made it this far. I think it is going to be a massively big deal if they actually win this thing. Is it going to be as big of a deal as if and when they raise an NBA championship trophy? Of course not. Of course not. It's not going to be anywhere close to as big a deal of that. It's not as big of a deal as if they make the NBA finals this year. And frankly, the feeling that I will get if they win tonight, I don't even think it's going to be on par or even close to being as close to on par with how I felt after the Knicks beat the Boston Celtics in the second round last year. So no, it's not championship finals or even conference finals level, but it matters. Is it a derived thing that Adam Silver thought of to put more money in the pockets of the people that he works for, the 30 NBA owners? Absolutely. And I don't think anyone with half a brain would deny that. But just because that is the case, it is in existence. It is here now. And it does have stakes. $500,000, obviously, to each winning player. You know that is a motivating factor for these guys. And even beyond that, you absolutely know what is the NBA? The NBA is a collection of the most competitive people in the world at this particular sport. And they are going to step foot on this court tonight. And one Jalen Brunson, probably more than anyone, is going to step foot onto this court tonight. And he is going to treat this with the importance of a game that matters. A lot more than an average game in the middle of December would matter. Here, Izzy, come over here. Come over here. Come this way. What do you want to tell me? You want to watch Hunters on TV? Okay, I'll put Hunters on TV for you. My daughter wants to watch Hunters on TV. In any case, so I'm hyped up. This is my very long-winded way of saying that I'm hyped up, and I am looking forward to watching this game. Looking forward to doing a watch along for this game. I hope everybody joins us on the Knicks Film School YouTube channel for that watch along. I know Sean's going to be popping in. We may have some other friendly faces popping in here and there. We'll get that thing kicked off at about 8:30. And Yeah, I'm just excited. I'm just excited for the night, and I'm excited to see. And now I'll get into the other part of this pregame pod. Not pregame pod. Andrew has dibs on the pregame pod. Whatever this actually is. I know. I realize now that I have postgame show up on the thing. It's fine. It doesn't matter. It's not a postgame show. But I there we go. There's the right one. Um, but I'm yeah, I'm excited for what's about to come to pass. So let's talk about the game a little bit. Um Wemby's not starting, which I think is notable. Wemby is on a minutes limit, which I think is notable. It sounded from what his coach said that he is going to play somewhere in the vicinity of the same number of minutes as he played in the last game. I think he was on a 20-minute limit the last game. Figure he'll probably play somewhere between 20 and 25 minutes tonight. Izzy, you and the dog have to be quiet. And so I think that helps the Knicks. Although there is going to be a feeling right out of the gate that, all right, we got to win the non-Wemby minutes, which is a little bit worrisome because, as we have seen the Knicks do all season long, they do not always come out of the gate firing on all cylinders with the level of defensive intensity that we would maybe want them to have from the opening tip. So that part of it is a little bit of a worry for me that it's like, all right, Spurs are coming out, their best player is on the bench, and yet they're going to come out keyed up. We have seen what Luke Cornett can do against the Knicks. We saw what he did against the Knicks last playoffs in Game 5 when the Boston Celtics had a resounding win. Luke Cornett was arguably the best player in that game. And it's going to, right out of the gate, test Karl Anthony Towns in the pick and roll. And so that's one thing that I'm going to be keeping an eye on. In conjunction with testing Karl Anthony Towns on the pick and roll right out of the gate, something else that I'm going to be keeping an eye on is the matchups. So with Cornett starting, I would assume that they are going to put Cornett on Josh Hart. I don't know that I would have said that if they started the game with Wembanyama. With Cornett starting the game, I am assuming they're going to put Cornett on Josh Hart, which means Harrison Barnes is probably going to guard Karl Anthony Towns. And then from there, you figure De'Aaron Fox on Mikal Bridges. And then from there, it gets a little interesting because if you say, all right, well, they're going to give Devin Vassell a chance to handle Jalen Brunson, and I think there was some logic to that, well, then that would leave Stephon Castle to deal with OG Anunoby. And I think something that we haven't really paid a lot of attention to this year, in part because OG was hurt for a while, and in part because, teams haven't, really done this, is if a team starts small on OG, will the Knicks go to try to exploit that matchup? I do not think, my guess would be that the Spurs will not start Castle on OG and will instead start Castle and give Castle the challenge, give him the responsibility of guarding Jalen Brunson out of the gate, basically give him first crack at it, and then allow Devin Vassell to take the OG Anunoby assignment, and then Fox on Bridges, at Barnes on Cat, and then try to hide Cornett on Josh Hart. Now, if the Spurs go with that strategy, what should the Knicks do? What can they do to exploit it? Well, for one, if they're going to leave Josh Hart wide open, they either have to put Josh Hart in the actions, which I talked about this with DJ Zulo recently. I've talked about this with Benji Ridholtz recently. There's ways to get Josh Hart involved in the actions where he is not necessarily the ball handler or something along those lines, because you don't want the ball in his hands. You want him involved. You want him setting screens. You want him, being near the action. You maybe just don't want him initiating the actions, at least not while all your starters, and in particular Jalen Brunson, is on the court. So there's that part of it. But if he's wide open, shoot it. Shout out to my guy Jeff, who said it on an episode of NBA Takedown earlier this week. Shoot the fucking ball. That's what you got to do, Josh. Shoot the fucking ball. If he's open, that's what he has to do, and it'll be one thing that kind of dictates the Spurs strategy from there. And then the other part of it, if it is Harrison Barnes on Cat, for one, that doesn't mean the Cat shouldn't try to get himself going early. I think he should, and I think he will. And obviously, the other thing is it doesn't mean the Knicks should go away from the Brunson Cat pick and roll. And this has been a topic of much discussion over recent days and weeks. James Edwards III wrote a great article about how different is the Knicks offense really last year to this year. Everybody should go check that out on The Athletic. But like in short, they are running more Cat and Brunson actions. We saw them do a lot of that against Orlando. I'm sure they will do a lot of that here. And if the Knicks can generate a switch on those actions, and this is what I suspect will happen if the Spurs start with Barnes on Cat, is you're going to get the Knicks playing for a lot of switches, and you're going to get Jalen Brunson trying to go one-on-one with Harrison Barnes and testing just how well the old man can still keep up. Alternatively, if they do draw that switch, and this is again what makes this Knicks offense so difficult to guard, is if, as I predict, they will start out with Stephon Castle on Jalen Brunson. Well, then if they switch those actions, there is the other side of that switch. And now you have a guard in Stephon Castle. He's a kind of a big guard, but he's a very much a guard-sized guard left on Karl Anthony Towns. At which point it opens up a whole host of other opportunities. So all of this is a trickle-down effect from the Spurs guarding, quote unquote, not traditionally. But again, it all comes back to the top, because even if all this other good stuff comes to fruition and the Knicks get all these switches and the Knicks, they run the Cat Brunson action and whatever else, if Kornet is just playing so far off of Josh Hart that he's going to muck everything up down low, well, it takes away some of the benefit of all of these goodies, which is why we go back to point one. Josh, if you're open, shoot the ball. It all starts with that. So that's when the Knicks have the ball. Now, when Wemby comes in, I think it gets more interesting, but the more interesting part there is, what do the Knicks do in terms of trying to guard Wemby when he's in the game? I think, again, I don't know that there was ever any real thought to starting Wemby. I don't know how much this factored into the game plan or not, but I like the fact that both Victor Wembanyama and Mitchell Robinson are coming off the bench, because out of everybody the Knicks have, not saying Mitch is the guy that I would want on Wemby in terms of just doing the best job on him. I think OG Anunoby will do the best job on him, but I want to reserve OG Anunoby for the fourth quarter. Possessions where it's going to Wemby, Wemby's probably going to be taking the shot, and you do not want to double him. My best chance of avoiding the double team of Wemby is to stick OG on him and challenge OG to handle that matchup. So, in the interim, in the 3 quarters leading up to that, I love Mitch getting a shot on Wembanyama. Is Wemby going to beat Mitch sometimes? Absolutely. But I like Mitch getting that responsibility. And you know what? If Mitch gets in foul trouble, okay, it is what it is. Mitchell Robinson's playing whatever he is, 18, 20, 22 minutes a game right now. So the thought of Mitchell Robinson potentially using all of his fouls or most of his fouls is not, to me, the end of the world. And I think he has as good a chance of giving Victor a run for his money as anyone, and at least minimizing the damage that he could do. Now, the other side of the coin is, if Victor Wembanyama is in there, does that neutralize a little bit of Mitchell Robinson's offensive rebounding impact? Potentially, but that's a price to pay, as my daughter is back looking for more. Yes, Isabel?
I'm hungry.
Okay, well, we're going to get you food in a minute. All right, that's my sign that I got to start wrapping this baby up. Trying to think if there's anything else that I wanted to get to. No, I'm not rapping you. Rap, it's a different context.
Stop it.
Anyway, yeah, I don't think there's anything else. I think it's gonna be a high scoring game. I think it's gonna be a fun game. I think it's gonna be a close game. I think you are going to see Mike Brown push the boundaries of how many minutes he's going to play these guys. I would be surprised if we did not see 3 or 4 Knicks play 40 minutes or more tonight. I think you're going to be looking at some Thibodeauian minutes totals before the end of the night. Not to say that there won't be other guys who will factor in here. Obviously, we know he's going to give Jordan Clarkson a chance. We know Tyler Kolek is going to get a chance. We already talked about Mitch. This is an interesting question. How deep does Mike Brown's rotation go tonight? A lot of noise about Gershon Yabusele over the last several days. Does Gershon Yabusele get off the bench tonight? It probably gets off the bench in the first half. Again, if for no other reason, maybe he gets off the bench when Wemby's in the game, just throw another body on Wembanyama, give him another look, although I don't have a ton of confidence that's going to go very well. So, something else to think about there, but I think, look, he's going to push the guys. I think this matters to him. I think it matters to them. I think he knows this matters to them. And yeah, the Knicks have a back-to-back coming up on Thursday and Friday. This game doesn't count in the standings. Those games do. I would not be surprised if they go hard after this one tonight, and then maybe Thursday or Friday, we see, I don't know if it's going to be somebody sitting out, a couple people sitting out, some more limited minutes, whatever the case may be. So that's all stuff to think about. All right. I don't know if we have any. Yes, Isabel. Maddie's biting you. Well, she should not do that. All right. I'm going to take some chats, and then we're going to go on our merry way. We have. Oh, we only have one chat that my guy, by the way, shout out to my guy, Theo, middle name Latrell. Yes, named after Latrell Sprewell. And yes, I am wearing a Latrell Sprewell jersey. The jersey Latrell, not the actual jersey, but the type of jersey Latrell Sprewell wore in the 1999 NBA Finals when he faced off against the San Antonio Spurs and nearly single-handedly took them down. I know it was a 5-game series, but he was a bad, bad man, especially in Game 5. I will never forget that performance. So shout out to Theo. He's on the ones and twos, and he got this chat for us. Ben Kim Gervey. Anyone shitting on celebrating the NBA Cup trophy is likely the kind of person who openly makes fun of kids in the 8th grade talent show because they aren't that good. You know what, Ben? I dig the analogy. I always appreciate your analogies and basically your entire point of view and thought process when it comes to this stuff. Just embrace it. Embrace it. Enjoy it. Have fun with it. If they win, celebrate. I already said I have a bottle of Corbel champagne. Is it good champagne? No, but it's champagne. That is in my fridge upstairs. I will pop that baby live on the post-game show if they win. And if they lose, it'll suck and we'll be disappointed. And that would be unfortunate. But hopefully they don't. Hopefully they win. Hopefully Knicks fans get to celebrate a trophy of some kind for the first time in 52 years. It's been a long time. And that's all she wrote. All right. I will see everybody in about half an hour right back here on the Knicks Film School YouTube channel for a watch along in which we will watch this game together. And then, of course, on the post game. That is it for me. Thanks, everybody, for coming in, spending a little time with me before this game. Let me get out the jitters, and we will talk to you soon. Peace out.